On this episode, we're going to introduce you to Angela Bayne, who has a passion for Pilates, and we're going to learn as we start to age how Pilates can really benefit us. Stay tuned for a lot more.
Welcome to Farm Truck Financial, where wisdom and wealth ride shotgun. Join Eric Kearney, president of Retirement Wealth Advisors, who believes that the best kind of planning happens when four tires hit the road. So hop in. Today, we're talking about investment strategies that drive results.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial today. And we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about Pilates and as men and women get older, how important this is. So today, Angela Bayne. Angela, welcome.
Thank you, Eric, for having me.
I am so excited to have you here today because we've been talking about doing this show for a very long time. One thing that we all love about you at Retirement Wealth Advisors is your passion that you have and that you're such a huge advocate for women and also for women's health. And so you've been into Pilates for quite some time.
I have. I've enjoyed it. When I moved down here to Florida, I got involved in that. Mm-hmm. I think it's wonderful to take care of yourself. You know, you have to take care of yourself in order to have longevity in your life.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot in this show. And then the other thing is, why did you come into us? Because we've been working together doing financial planning and income planning and all that fun stuff. But your situation is very similar to a lot of other people's. But what we want to do is kind of go over a little bit about your situation and how far you've come, let's say financially.
Well, I'd had my money in the bank for years, and I felt that it was a safe place to be.
Right.
But unfortunately, I was only getting a minimal return on that money.
Yeah.
And with inflation rising and my HOA fees, right? We all have that.
Yeah.
And then I was getting assessments.
Right.
And my amenities were being cut. I was having to have that responsibility.
Yeah, right.
So I just wasn't being able to have the lifestyle that I wanted to because I was so concerned and having a lot of anxiety because of that.
So you told us in the beginning that you were interviewing with several different firms. Mm-hmm. You ended up working with Retirement Wealth Advisors. How did that come about? Like, how did you make that choice?
Well, I met with your team and you and Donna sat down with me and devised a plan and explained it to me. And I felt that I was able to not just living today and tomorrow, but a future.
Oh, right.
Very comfortable with that, you know, and I felt a part of the family here.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And that's one of the things is that when you are a cash person, you've got CDs, money markets, checking, savings, money underneath that mattress. At some point, life seems to start feeling more expensive. And all of a sudden you feel like your money's not really working for you. It's just kind of sitting there. So what is one of the biggest things that you learned when we put you through the financial planning process, do you think?
Well, I at first was a saver and now I'm an investor and that money's growing for me.
Right. And there is a difference, right? Because a saver, you know, they're hoarding that cash, but they have issues too. And so like inflation, healthcare, your HOA fees that we talk about all the time, they get more expensive, yet your cash is not growing. But now all of a sudden we have a portfolio and an income plan that are actually matching your goals and objectives. So it is a different feeling. And I appreciate you telling us about that. So what we want to talk about today is really your lifestyle, because we talked about before when you moved into your community, how things have changed, like your HOA fees and assessments and how living there has gotten to be more expensive. What has that looked like?
Well, I've had to take on more responsibility. And I just didn't, at the time, I didn't feel comfortable with these expenses rising for myself.
Right.
And so now I'm okay with that. I feel like I have plenty of money coming in.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Right. And so it's a different feeling. You feel like, okay, now living expenses are not an issue anymore as long as I can keep up with them and pay them.
Well, my anxiety's been relieved.
Right.
And I'm not concerned with that. Like I said, the plan that you all laid out for me lets me maintain the lifestyle that I want to with freedom.
Yeah. So again, we learned a lot about financial planning, why cash is not always a great thing. But in the next segment, what we want to start talking about is our health. And I think that that's really why we brought you on the show, because you are a huge advocate for women's health as we age. And what we're really going to see is it's not working out today. It's why we're working out today for tomorrow. And that's really what I want to cover in the next section. So stay tuned. We got some great information ahead. We'll be right back.
Do you have questions and concerns about your money, lifestyle, and retirement? Like so many, investors today worry about living expenses, healthcare costs, inflation, and stock market volatility. Instead of worrying, start planning. Eric Kearney and his team at Retirement Wealth Advisors want to sit down, get to know you, and start to build a plan that matches your vision and goals. Let's have a real conversation about what's important to you and how we get there. We'll help build you a plan based on your goals, lifestyle, and income needs, with financial clarity over complexity. Call us today for a farm fresh second opinion. Remember, you only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial. And today we are having a great conversation, not only about wealth, but how important it is as we get older, how much our health is important to us. So we're going to learn today a little bit more about the history of Pilates. And I know that we talked off air about this a lot, Angela, and you really are a huge advocate and you just have a huge love for Pilates. So let's go back into the history of Pilates.
Okay. Well, Joseph Pilates was the man that created Pilates, but it was originally termed controlology. But let's begin with the history. Joseph was born in 1883, and he was born a sick child with rickets and asthma. So he chose to dedicate his life to health and fitness. In 1912, he was over in England. And during that time, World War I broke out. And so he was interning at a camp. And he decided at that time to begin to devise apparatus to help rehabilitate the sick and injured.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so what he did was take iron pieces from beds and springs from mattresses to create what we now know as the reformer.
He really started this a long time ago, understanding really how to rehab people, how to make them feel better. And really, Pilates blew up, let's say in the 1990s. It's been around forever, right? But now today, it's like a $1.9 billion industry. I mean, you take yoga and that has its own industry. The bodybuilding has its own industry, but Pilates itself is 1.9 billion. So he created all of this from so long ago.
In 1912, he began devising that. And in 1920, he takes a ship over to the United States where he meets his wife, Clara. Then they come over in 1925 to New York City, and they open their first studio. And he has New York elite, he has dancers, circus performers, and gymnasts. That's how it first started off. It wasn't as big like it is today, but at least that's where it began.
Right.
And in 1967, that's when Joseph passed.
Oh, wow.
At the age of 83.
That's kind of crazy, though, that so he has no idea how massive this industry is right now,
No,
right?
he didn't have that, but he would be very happy to see where it's come.
Yeah. So the one thing that I got from you, too, is, look, this world anymore is crazy. It is loud. It is fast. We have news media in our face 24/7. We're taking care of kids. We're taking care of parents. We're trying to work at our careers. When you go into Pilates class, everything seems to slow down for you. And that's kind of what you got from that. It's that hour away from all the madness, an hour away from our cell phones. So tell us a little bit about what that experience is like.
Well, when you go in, first of all, it's dog eat dog getting your reformer.
Oh, really?
Classes. Oh, yeah. It's very sought after, Eric. You go in and you find your reformer. You put your things down, and it's a time where you come solely for yourself. It's a very quiet time, and you just take that hour for yourself.
Right.
It's a very mind and body connection for yourself.
So you're taking a break from life and you say, look, I need this hour to myself to kind of rejuvenate and renew my mind, give you kind of a break from all that stress out there, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not just for your body, you're getting a lot mentally as well as physically.
Well, that was the whole premise of it all.
Right.
It's a mind-body connection.
That's fantastic. So how long have you been doing this and what do you really get out of it physically, do you think?
Well, I've been doing it about 3 years and I get a whole lot from it. I feel like my body feels stronger. I know my body's stronger, and I feel very much at peace. It really is the best part of my day.
And really, what is the instructor helping you do? Like, I know that there's an instructor for each class. What is their role when you're actually there and helping you?
Well, they're in, guiding the exercise. They make sure you're in proper form. They make sure you're breathing properly. And if you have any injuries, you explain that to them, that you have it so that they can alter the exercise to you specifically.
That's fantastic. So, hey, everybody out there, we've got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we talked about breathing, core, stability. There's a lot of good things that come out of Pilates that I didn't even realize. So the next segment, we have a lot of great information of why Pilates is so important to do today in order for your future tomorrow. So we're going to be talking a lot about breathing, stability, the mentality part of it. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of great information.
You know who has one of the toughest retirements? Procrastinators. You keep telling yourself, yeah, I'm going to get to that. But after months turn into years, you realize that time is one investment you can't buy back. The earlier you start, the longer your money works for you. Stop letting someday steal your future. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Don't let procrastination be the reason you work longer and retire smaller. Call us today for a complimentary review of your finances. And remember, you only retire once. So let's get it right the first time.
And we are back on Farm Truck Financial, and we are having a great conversation about how important Pilates is today. So in this section, Angela, what I want to do is go over why this is so important for the viewer, what you get out of it, but more importantly, what they can get out of it as they get older. I know the biggest thing that you always talk about is the core. Everything is the core. So let's talk about that.
Well, our core is our powerhouse. That's what gives us our strength for our posture, our upright mobility. And that's about every exercise that we do in Pilates. So whether you're on the reformer, you're on the chair, you're on the mat, that's what we're working on.
All of that.
All of that.
What's your favorite? Like, there's several different pieces of equipment that you use in Pilates. What is your favorite one and why?
My favorite one, it's probably the reformer. I feel like it uses every muscle. You can you work your arms, you work your core, you're working your legs, you're working your bottom, you're working everything.
And you've said before, like, when you're in that reformer, you have to concentrate. Like, it's kind of serious business, right? The instructor is helping you, but you really have to really pay attention to what you're doing.
In Pilates, you have to pay attention at all times. It's a mind and body working in unison. So you have to focus at all times. You're constantly being aware of every muscle. Your breathing. First, your breathing is important in that too, right? Because you have to be aware of what you're supposed to be doing, listening to your instructor, and focusing on your breathing, because the breathing maximizes your core. Every exercise you're doing, it maximizes that. So you're very aware of everything you're doing at all times. And we've talked about posture. Posture is huge, right? Especially as we get older, we don't want to be like shrinking over. And I mean, I used to be 6 foot. No, but I always tell people I think I'm shrinking over and now I'm 5'11", but I was always like 5'10" and a half. As I get older, I do worry about that because you see older people with their posture coming over. But with this, it's actually pulling your shoulders back. So let's talk a little bit about that. Well, you do exercises in Pilates where you use the TRX to open your shoulders up. Same thing on the reformer where you're constantly working your arms to pull your shoulders back. And also the core. We go back to the core. Right. All of that. The stronger your core is, that's your spine with your hips, your pelvis, all of that helps with your posture. Right. So, and you were talking to Tony outside, and she's a personal trainer. You guys were talking about posture and how, as you get older, you want to be able to pull your shoulders back. Why is that so important? Well, you want to look less vulnerable. Let's say you want to look less vulnerable. You want to be able to stand up, and it gives you, the mobility. The last thing you want to lose your mobility, because when you're driving a car, you want to have that ability to look left, look right, and have full range. Right. And we don't realize it, but slowly but surely we do end up losing that. Yeah. And I also want to talk about stability. What is the number one thing that we always worry about with an older person? Falling.
Right.
right? We end
So
up falling.
let's talk about how stability is so important when it comes to Pilates.
Well, it's our body staying stable while we're moving.
Right.
So we're constantly doing exercises like that to do stretching and flexibility.
So as we get to that point, we work with a surgeon, and he's an orthopedic surgeon who always says the closer you get to 65, the more maneuverability you have in your life, the better off you're going to be. And that's really what we're looking for. So we want to be able to have that mobility, stability, where we just are able to get through life a little bit easier. Even getting up and down from the couch, or even using the bathroom. There's so many simple things where Pilates really does play a huge role for this. A lot of our clients, I feel like once they have the wealth part down, now they want to concentrate on the health part. And this is where you're really bringing awareness to all of that and letting people know, look, this is a new status symbol, right? Your health, being healthy, being aware is actually a status symbol. So I appreciate you bringing that to us.
And those exercises you were just talking about, getting up and getting down, that's why using the reformer, strengthening those muscles and getting that flexibility helps you do just those activities.
Right. Angela, thank you so much for coming on the show today and going over your passion about Pilates. And I really do believe that our health is really becoming a status symbol. We have the financial plan, we have the income plan, we have the portfolio. Now what we want to start focusing truly is our health so that we can enjoy that longevity of life. So again, if you have any questions about your finances, reach out to us. There's also going to be some great information about Pilates below. So again, thank you so much for watching Farm Truck Financial. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for riding along with us today. We hope you got some good dirt. If you liked today's show, subscribe, like, and share with all your farm truck friends. We hope you'll join us for the next ride on Farm Truck Financial, where we're always planting seeds for a better future, 1 mile, $1 at a time.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you down the back road steady.